We are back. We are here. Episode 144, the greatest sports show in the world. We're going to stop using the word podcast. We are more than a podcast. We are forming the Prince and Bardi network. You may see the uptick in the news. We just trying to keep y'all up to date every second of the day. But I want to get right to it, man. I want to give a big congrats to my dog. My boy got married over the weekend, man. Beautiful ceremony. Salute to our girl Danny and Ace, man. It was a beautiful wedding, man. How you feeling?
Oh man, I'm good, man. Wifey took care of me. I got a rose gold wedding band and I got a white gold wedding band. She's like, pick whichever
Yeah.
one you want. I got two of them, so I'm gonna probably wear them on both fingers.
You heard my boy. Nah, no, that was dope, man. Welcome to the married club, man. We say cleaning the bill of health. We was suited and booted.
hmm Yeah, man. Everybody was fresh. Your boy Prince was looking like Hov from the Rock Boys video. You already know he flying in a mug. It was a good vibe, man. Definitely was a good vibe. Arlington did his thing. Chris did his thing. Shout out to Three Kings Apparel. He came through.
Boy Swain.
Swain. We had a good time. It definitely was a vibe, and the bridesmaids, they definitely was lit.
Oh, yes, they were.
You already know, bro. You know what it is.
Yeah, man. I got some dope stuff with the meta glasses too. I got a bunch of stuff I'm gonna send over to you.
Definitely, definitely.
So, man, let's get right into it, man. I know it's been a while, but my boy been planning a wedding. He's stress free now, man. If you ever got married, been a part of a wedding planning situation, you know how stressful that is. So, my boy,
hmm
he made it. He free now. So, we back at it.
Yes, sir. We back at it, man. Back like we never left, man.
Right.
Let's get into these sports talks.
Man, let's get into this Bardi report, man. You've been talking about June 1st for weeks now, months now. It finally
hmm
happened, man. Two blockbuster trades. Obviously, AJ Brown getting dealt to the Patriots. We knew that was coming. But the shocker of the day is Myles Garrett is now with the Rams, man. Bardi report, all things NFL, man. Let's start with the home team, with your Eagles, man. What are you thinking about? What did you like what you got back? What you thinking?
Well, let me tell you what, man. We talked today. I saw when we put the report together at the network and it dropped as far as the first one for Miles. And then when I saw AJ got traded and I seen all these reports, I had to return my tux to Men's Warehouse. So when I'm going to Men's Warehouse, I'm like the Eagles now. I got my Smitty jersey, but I had to go all in on Saquon. I went and grabbed me my Saquon Barkley green jersey. I love it from this standpoint, Prince. I think that people don't realize Philadelphia, when they're a winning team, when they're a winning squad, when we won the first bowl, people don't realize we had a Jay Ajayi, we had Blunt from the former Patriot running back, and we were moving the ball at an all-time rate. Second time we went to the Super Bowl, we had the running back that's in Chicago. I forget his name, but he was balling out. And then, of course, when we won the last time, it was because of Saquon. I think people don't realize
Swift,
because
John Swift.
yeah, it's a Swift, exactly. Swift, yeah, DeAndre Swift. The thing what people don't realize is everybody was talking last year like Saquon lost a step, not knowing all the injuries that we had at O-line. Then we get the quarterback coach from Green Bay, where they like to run a lot of stunts with the offensive line, a lot of shifts, a lot of moves, things in that nature. It's always something going on behind the line of scrimmage in Green Bay. And we always see Jordan Love. He may not be a top tier quarterback, but he's in the top 10 numbers. And that's only because of the quarterback coming, Sean Miniman. So now Sean Miniman is the OC in Philly. I'm happy that we got to cancel off the team. And listen here, I always give my flowers to my co-host. I got to do it. But he said it from day one. He said, listen, AJ is causing the issues. I love more of our boy Smitty. And he's like,
Yep.
Smitty needs to get the ball. Prince always said that. And so from when he said it, I took a look into it and I co-signed. So I'm happy he's gone. We got a number one in 2027 and we got a number two in 2029. I think with what we know, how he does, how we will make those picks mean a lot. So I'm happy for that. But I mean, if you really want to know the truth, Prince, the Rams won the day. I mean, we know what they have at quarterback, what they have at receiver, and I mean, Myles Garrett is the best defensive player in the leagues right now. Even though Philly got Graynard and they improved on their defense, the best team in the NFC, you heard it here first, is the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I think I agree, bro. And I think for me, what makes them interesting, yeah, the Garrett move is obviously it's Garrett, but it almost, if you look at the offense as well, They got weapons, bro. Puka, you got oh my, it's just an embarrassment of riches, man. You know what I mean? Devontae's still there. So what I mean is there's not one guy who has to ball out every time. Same thing on the defensive end. That secondary shored up. The Rams did a hell of a job this offseason, man. You got to give them credit. You re-up on Matt Stafford, lock him down for 2 more years. You get a promising
Mhm.
young quarterback in the draft. So you secured yourself, with a young piece and who you drafted, and you got, you're gonna get the best whatever's left in our boy Matt. So salute to the Rams, man. What can you say? They did their thing, man, for sure.
It was it was a good pickup, and I'm happy for McVay. But we know what the big story is. Everybody said it. That remember Aaron Donald years ago said, "If we get Michael Parsons, I may come
Uh,
out of retirement." So now we're looking at it. There's a good chance if Aaron Donald, that's the real reason why I think they're going to win it. I think that they're better than Eagles on paper, but of course the chemistry is one thing, and then of course the fact that you put Miles Garrett on that defense, but of course they lost some pieces in the secondary. I think pressure wise, they're going to be one of the best teams in the league. But I think other than pressure, there's still some things that they have to fortify on the team and on a whole. So it's going to be interesting going forward, Prince, because I just want to see what they're going to do. But I will say this, just like we knew at the beginning of basketball season, it was going to be OKC and the Spurs and Philadelphia.
Calling it now.
I'm calling it now, man. I'm locked in calling it. It's Rams and Philadelphia NFC Championship. Now, whoever has the home field, I can't tell you, but we'll see what happens as we go forward.
Yeah, man. And in other football news, man, my Giants made some sneaky little moves, man. You get OBJ, Juju Smith-Schuster, you get Barrios. It's
Mhm.
sneaky little. So the wide receiver room is looking cool. We don't know what's going on with neighbors. I seen a clip of him playing baseball. He was kind of looking kind of ginger. So
Mhm.
Jackson Dart talking about Trump. Apparently the locker room's better now. One of my sources was out there at the announcement with Odell, and they said that everybody was cool with Dart. Dart had a talk with our guy, man. So we'll see, man. We'll see what the Giants look like. But what do you think of the sneaky pieces they got? They already got Likely too. So Dart has a lot of safety nets to throw to.
The only thing I didn't like was, Abdul Carter came out and said he didn't like what was said by him and he's not backing him. So I think that he doesn't realize he caused a rift in the locker room. I think that's the only issue we have. We'll see how Harbaugh reels everybody back in to get them to play football the right way. But I will say that I still think the Giants are and this is my Barty take, my hot take for the season. Giants is a playoff team this year. I will
For
say that.
sure.
I
I
don't
agree.
know if they'll win anything or even win a playoff game, but I have them 10 wins. I have so if I was ranking the NFC East right now, I would have the Cowboys, and everybody's gonna say I'm tripping, but the Cowboys are gonna finish. I still have them finishing last. They'll win about maybe 6 games. I
Is
have
that for
Washington
real?
winning, huh?
Wow. You thought
Yep.
you Man, that's a hot take for sure.
I got the Cowboys winning 6 games. I got the Washington Redskins winning 7 games. I have Giants either at 9-8 or 10-7, and Philly will be 11-6 or 12-5. You know what? I'll say 11-6 because I think the Rams will go 12-5. And the only reason why I say the Rams.
Nah, I agree, man. I think if nothing else, we're gonna see some great football. A lot of skill position players made moves, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Mhm, definitely.
I mean, with the Cowboys, my thing with the Cowboys is like, it's really unfortunate, man, because you look at any wide receiver duo with like a Pickens and a CeeDee Lamb, you would like them to with anybody. You would like them offensively, favorable. But it's like even with
Mhm.
that, still got them last place. It just kind of goes to show you that Cowboys got holes in other places, man, that they didn't really. They had a good offseason. I'm not gonna front on them. They got some good pieces,
Yeah,
but
they did.
it's the Cowboys. So I think my thing with this is, man, I think when it comes to bad teams and reputation, like you always speak about management, you got to show and prove to us, man, because we've seen it crumble every time on the highs and the lows. But not
Mhm.
even because y'all just lost. It's like Dak forgot how to throw. It just kind of like all time meltdown. So, segue into the NBA Finals, man. Obviously, we got the Knicks. we got the Spurs. The Knicks have been strong from start to finish, man. They came on strong towards the end of the season and
Mm,
obviously pretty much dominated the playoffs. I give a lot of credit to Mike Brown, just bringing in that championship DNA, that championship pedigree. Not to say
mhm,
Tibbs didn't have it, but Tibbs was still that like old school ground and pound kind of like coaching, man. We're gonna play hard, that's cool, the hard hat mentality, but you gotta play with strategy. How do I get Cat effective? Here's the thing, Cat is not getting his crazy numbers, but Cat is sacrificing. He's in that Kevin Love role. He's in that Chris Bosh role. Yeah, you could be over in Minnesota, wherever we at. You could get Cat is a 25-10 career guy if he wanted to be. You know what I mean? But
mhm,
I don't know if that associates with winning. But I say all that to say Cat has bought into his role. You got to respect him. You didn't hear no
mhm,
riff like Cat is not getting enough touches. Cat, he kept it professional, man. I know a lot of people want to clown Cat, but Cat kept it professional, bought into the role. He not even playing that much. And I think what kind of was their benefit, they played Brunson and Cat separate, kind of like they did with CJ and Dame, where it's like you kind of run your own unit. So I think that's been effective. Now, looking at this matchup, I love it, man. It's one of my favorite finals matchups in years. I mean, that I can remember for the simple fact that these teams are almost mirror images, except
mhm,
their best players. One's a center and one's a point guard, right? You look at Anunoby, Stephon Castle, right? You look at Harper, you look at Bridges. It's like mirror images of it. You go to Vassell, you got Landry Shamet, you got Champagne. You know what I mean? So even down to the shooting and role players, it's great. A lot of people saying Knicks in 6. I know you got Spurs in 6. And I don't have a prediction right now, man. I'm gonna be honest with you because the 2-star players I'm fans of. I'm fans of how they got it out the mud and took their lumps and they brought their teams to where they at. So I respect
mm.
Brunson, for what he doing at his height, his heart. Brunson's a baller. I have the utmost respect for Brunson, win or lose in this finals, right? He better get that bread. His agent better do right by him. The Knicks better do right by him and pay that man. And Wemby too, Wemby is really of that Kobe Jordan, like them losses really sting him, man. So you saw that emotion, when they won that Western Conference final. So all in all,
I agree with everything you're saying. I'm gonna give two hot takes, and this is just to piggyback on holding the court with Prince. Number one, you 100% right. Whatever side you decide to go for, I mean, you can't get mad because the Knicks haven't won in a long time.
yeah, a great
But I,
story.
if it definitely a great storyline, and so for Jalen Brunson, I'm safe to say, and I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this. I know I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this, but I don't care. If I had to choose between Allen Iverson and Jalen Brunson, I'm going Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson is now the new best little guard that we've ever seen because he doesn't get over emotional. He's always locked in the moment and he trusts his teammates. And there's no off the court issues. That was always my issue with AI. There was an off the court issue with Allen Iverson. There's no off the court issue
Oh,
with Jalen Brunson. And then the storyline of him and his father being his coach,
no, he's a pro's
what he
pro.
did at Villanova. I mean, all his Villanova brothers respect him. So I mean, going full circle, I think he's the best little guard that I've ever seen.
Okay,
But mhm,
no, let me piggyback that real quick. So it's funny, me and Sadiki was talking about this as far as even in breaking down him and AI on that, right? AI had like a 7-foot wingspan, if I'm not mistaken. So AI
mhm,
had long. His arms are longer than mine. I'm 6'6",
mhm,
right? His hands were pretty big, right?
mhm,
And AI had freaky athleticism. He's an all-state quarterback. AI could have went anywhere. He could have went to the league. So we're talking about a supremely gifted, once in a generational athlete in AI. Even though he's still small, he did all those things amongst giants, but Brunson has zero advantage. He's
mhm,
not
mhm,
faster, he's not quicker. So he kind of reminds me of the Isaiah Thomas ilk, where Zeke
mhm,
had no superpower. He was a great ball handler, great ball handler. Jalen Brunson's a pretty good ball handler, nice handle with the ball. So I guess
mhm.
that would be the mirror. Their superpowers, they able to how they handle the ball. But I'm with you, man. But yeah, I mean, because as my guy, I'm not gonna make that decision yet. That's your take for sure. But All I know is Iverson went to the finals. Brunson's already even with him. Now, if you look at accolades, I don't know if the league will ever give Brunson an MVP, in my personal
Mhm,
opinion.
mhm.
And that's on politics, not because he don't deserve one or could get one. So, and I don't think he'll get a scoring title per se.
No, no, not. I don't think so either. And I agree with you. I mean, you have to remember what made AI so great was he was before his time. He was the one that brought in the whole cornrows era. He was the one that brought in
Okay.
that yeah, exactly. So he brought his era in, and that's why everybody loved him so much. And then of course, I mean, all Jordan fans, what they loved the most about him, he was like Kobe. He saw Mike, but he didn't fear Mike, and he always played Mike tough. So I mean, Mike always beat him, but people love that whole crossover story. But I mean, for me, I guess what it is for me is there's no tougher place to play, maybe other than the Celtics and the Lakers,
Yeah.
than in New York. And
Historic.
even then, and even then I would say New York is harder because I
Yeah.
mean you're the league office is in New York, ESPN is in New York. Anything you do in New York is tough. It's always under so many microscopes. And so when I look at that from that perspective, you have to give love where love is due to what this man is doing in New York. If you look at the last 3 seasons and the relevancy of the Knicks have been there since he got there. And in the words of Big Perk, not Big Perk, our Big Perk. We got the Big Perk. I'm talking about ESPN's Big Perk. He called him Big Body Brunson. And that's probably what I would say is superpowers. For a little guard, he's big. He has a big physique, big shoulders, so he can take that blunt and that pain. And so, shout out to his game and what they're doing. But I want to jump to the other side. As you said, I got Knicks. I mean, I got Spurs in 6. One shout out to my brother. He's a Spurs fan.
Atlanta.
When you look at the Spurs, the dynamic of the Spurs, only reason why I'm picking the Spurs, Prince, you know who the Spurs remind me of? And you're gonna say you're gonna see what I'm saying. They remind me of the '04 Pistons, but with the big man. And I'm gonna tell you why. You got a Tayshaun Prince. You got all that length. Castle is a mixture of Tayshaun, but he has an offensive game. Vassell, he has that jump shooting mid range game, but he can also shoot threes. And then you have a guard. I don't think Fox is Chauncey, but he has crafty moves that can do stuff like Chauncey Billups. So,
Clutch.
yeah, and he definitely clutch. And then, you have a mixture of Rasheed Wallace and Big Ben in one player and Wembyama. Wembyama is Rasheed and Ben Wallace all in one. Defensively, he's going to block the ball. And then when you look at coming off the bench, they have Fournette, the big man. He's good as well as far as playing Spurs type of basketball. I just think that the Spurs are too much for the Knicks. I think coming off the bench, they're too much because they still got Keldon Johnson. And I don't see the series being a runaway series, meaning that you saw blowout games even in the OKC series. I don't see that this series. I see it going back and forth. I definitely see one game going in the Knicks' favor, and I also see another game going in what you call's favor and the Spurs. But I think it's going to go back and forth. I think they'll split the first 2 games. Actually, they'll probably split the first 4 games. But once the Spurs figure out how to beat them, this is when we're going to see a different series.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a nerd with it, so I'm looking a little under the hood, meaning like for me, the key people I'm watching, I'm gonna name the players that I'm looking at in this series, my key play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at OG Anunoby. I think if
Mm-hmm.
OG Anunoby is aggressive, and I'm not gonna say the offense should run through him, but he needs to get his touches. I think he's gonna be successful because Castle has
Mm-hmm.
to choose, Harper has to choose. He's gonna have a mismatch. And if you look at the Spurs run, there's nobody like OG, a 6'8", 6'9" guy, power player to shoot from outside, mid post. He's a poor man's Kawhi Leonard, if we're being honest. If he's
Mm-hmm.
aggressive. Oh, and he's locking up on the other end. OG's not getting muscled by anybody. You saw how Keldon Johnson was in there just kind of backing Caruso down and screaming in his ear.
Definitely.
I think the big dogs match up in this series. Like nobody's getting punked. How the Spurs them could punk you, how the Knicks was punking Cleveland and Harden and them. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
over with. right? And I'm also looking at the strategy of how Brunson's played because you're never going to stop a superstar. But if you look at Shea's numbers, bro, it went down a lot from his 3-point percentage, from his 2-point, his mid range shots was like down. So they contain him in that way, throwing different
That's
bodies.
true.
And Shea, people don't realize Shea's 6'6, 6'7. He just plays like floppy and finesse. So you forget that he's a big guard, right? So Brunson is not that size. So it's going to be interesting to see because you're going to get looks at Harper's going to be on him.
Mhm.
So he's going to get all the defenders Jalen Brunson's going to see this series are over 6'5". So where last series is Matt Strus, like you getting Harden, Mitchell, you getting Wade, but nah, this is not Wade and it's not Matt
Mhm.
Strus, respectfully. So I mean, they did beat him in the cup though, so let's not, but I was talking to my wife about this. She was like, "Oh, but we beat him in the cup." I'm like, "Yeah, but Champagne is probably the best shooter in the world at present day. How he's shooting the ball, bro, it's him and
Mhm.
Vassell, like how they're shooting the ball with confidence, bro. I seen Champagne get one where he just got the ball and just pulled. He didn't even think, just cash. His I haven't seen none of his 3-pointers hit the rim, bro. Weeks. This kid
Nah,
is on
that's
he's on a heater. And I think Landry Shamet is on a heater. Landry Shamet's coming in with that Jimmy too. So there's a lot of capable bench players on both sides that are like fearless. Like there's nobody shook. You know how they were saying Harden disappeared, Mitchell. Nobody on these teams is shook.
nah,
Not
that's
one
a fact.
person. So that's why for me, I can't pick. I don't know right now. Now, Wemby could be cool, but what if you put OG Anunoby on Wemby and you kind of body him up? They'll figure that out, but you know what I mean? There's ways to kind of throw Wemby different looks and make him uncomfortable. So it's like, who's the next guy? It's a De'Aaron Fox's series to make Brunson work? Like, what do you think? What do you think's the advantage?
I think the biggest takeaway from this series, Prince, is Big Dog. My mind state. The biggest takeaway is who you just said. I think he's the X factor. If you look at Game 7 and you're talking about how clutch he is, let's take the clock back. Let's jump in the time machine real quick. The first Sacramento played Golden State in the play-in. I think it
Yeah.
was 2021.
Probably the
Then
best game
20,
ever in history. Best.
yeah, and then they played them again in the playoffs, and they lost. Remember, Sacramento had a good seed; they were good in seeding, and they lost that series where Steph did what he was supposed to. And I think that was De'Aaron Fox's his freshman year, or his hazing moment, where he got hazed and realized who he was as a player. That he got better. I mean, when we look at that draft, everybody was talking about Lonzo, and they wasn't giving De'Aaron the love that he has. Now he's on a Spurs squad where he can be Tony Parker 2.0. So you got your TP 2.0. You got your Duncan 2.9, because Wemby's going to probably go down greater than Duncan if he wins a championship this year and keeps winning. So you got these two pieces, and De'Aaron Fox wasn't healthy the first 3 games of the series in OKC, but once that ankle got better, every game he played better. Now he's 100%. And if you have Wemby, who's going to match the point totals of Jalen Brunson, now who's going to match the fire of De'Aaron Fox? I'm letting you know first. I got Spurs in 6, and Wemby will not win the Finals MVP. De'Aaron Fox will let everybody know who took Lonzo, who took all these different players over him, that he is a Finals MVP for the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby's going to get there, but he's not going to be the Finals MVP. It's going to be defense from Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and Castle. And it's going to be the offensive play of De'Aaron Fox that has the Spurs close out the Knicks. Game 6, Madison Square Garden. De'Aaron Fox drops maybe 34, 35, and he gets that trophy, hosts us in front of New York. And then the Knicks will probably look to add another piece to take them over the top next season.
Bro, I mean, I'm not mad at none of that. Luke Cornett, I think, is going to be a key person in this series.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mikal Bridges has been playing some great basketball. I'm excited, man. I just want to see. I think Mitch Johnson's a great young coach. I love his poise, like how he leads them. I've always
Hmm.
been a fan of Mike Brown's mind. He got Braun to the finals, and Braun was, I know a lot of Braun gets obviously all the credit, but Mike Brown coached that team. He had them boys playing at a great level. So I can't take that away from him, even though Braun carried, but Mike Brown was that coach. So he's good with X's and O's, man. He studied with Steve Kerr, Popovich. He was in that Spurs. He was in that Spurs building. You know, he knows the culture. He knows what everybody brings to the table, man. So
Let's let's
I want to see the coaches battle.
let's keep it in the NBA, man. I definitely think it's going to be a great coaching battle, but I wanted to get your take, man, because you know you're the insider for everything that is Lakers. So I'm gonna read this paragraph to you. It says all signs have pointed to the Lakers retaining Reeves at a significant salary raise, but the questions are what is the dollar amount and will be potential that they can give them. Robert Horry said on ESPN LA radio, I think with Reeves, he has to do what is best for him. Sometimes fans forget that. We want him to stay, but at the end of the day, it's his life. He has to do what is best for him. Let's say some teams offer him 180 million and the Lakers can only offer 120. That is a 60 million raise. He needs to do what's best for him. So the reports are saying that the Lakers are leaning more for the future than signing LeBron back. In your opinion, how does that make you feel as a Lakers fan? Because I mean, listen, Prince, we know you never slacked on defense when you played. Is this something that you want to see with the Lakers, or do you want them to keep LeBron and try and win now?
You know what's funny about that, man? That's a great question. It's tough, man, because I I'm always, especially for your first big contract, because remember Reeves took a friendly deal after his rookie deal, right? So you can't get them folks a discount. But at the same time, for if you look at Reeves, right, you made your name in LA. There's no place to play like LA. You know, being a Laker, the love you get, your royalty, your American royalty, just being a Laker. You know what I mean? So that comes with a lot of respect. And to walk away from that and play for the Brooklyn Nets, yeah, you got the bag, but we seen it happen with D'Lo. D'Lo was popping when he was in LA, right? You know, now D'Lo not even in the league. He's a free agent. And D'Lo was a 20 points a game guy consecutive years, you know, just like Reeves. So Bradley Beal was a bucket getter, and now, you know, he got some injuries. So I think we've seen a version of Austin Reeves many times. So I'm taking the money, man. You know, 60 million, you know, to leave on the table would be not professional. Like that, it wouldn't be wise. You know, I know you love LA, you love what you built, you love Luca, but you got to get that money. Luca could get money off the court with endorsements. Luca signed to Jordan. You know, LeBron is LeBron. So everybody's not running down Austin Reeves, you know, to sell product. I know he has a few endorsements, but you get what I'm saying when I say that. So anything you could get, you got to get. But as a Laker fan, I mean, I don't want to be hamstringed to, like you said, like somebody who is a liability defensively, man. It's tough. But sadly, a lot of people had that problem, man. You know, if you look at most of the top heavy guys, there's very few two-way players in there now. You know, Wemby, Jalen Brown. Like if you look at that all defense, like it's not a lot of two-way players like you would think it would be, you know. So a lot of teams are paying guys, you know, guess what? It's as bad as Harden was, as bad as Mitchell was, you gotta run it back. What else you gonna do? Because Harden
Not
disappears, you know, so it's tough. It's up to Reeves. As a fan, you know, it would be cool to get him back on the discount, but when I say discount, like you said, 20, 130, 125 on a two, like make the years, do like a 1 and 1. Like if I'm Reeves, maybe you do like a 1 and 1. But the
and,
problem
and,
is,
and that makes sense. I agree with you. That makes sense, but
but
I think that's not what he wants though.
I know, but the problem with that, you see, that's why, like, Imma be real, and this has never probably even been discussed, but I gotta give LeBron his flowers on this. LeBron has always bet on himself. When he was signing them 1-and-1s when he was at the Cavs,
Hmm.
think about that. That's risky because you got a 1 guarantee you gonna ball out and make an All-NBA team, and you gotta guarantee you're not gonna get hurt, and you gotta guarantee we're going to the playoffs.
That's true.
So
That's
LeBron
true.
can so LeBron can be like, "Hey, man, I took a 1-on-1. Okay, give me this now." So now if I do that, now you talk about leverage because I'm gonna be honest with you, that's the only way it could work if we're being honest, 'cause you probably want the years, but it's like, "Hey, for flexibility right now, we could do 2 years, 80, but a 3," you know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
now you getting 40 a year. It's friendly for us. That's on that I can't see it working any other way where Lakers not giving up too much and Reeves is not getting his money.
that's true. That's true. But question is, should they sign and trade him for Giannis if the opportunity is there?
like I told you before, I think we're in love with the idea of Giannis now, but the reality, Giannis has been nicked up the last couple years, man, like sore Achilles, knee, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is so it could be a situation where Giannis plays, gets hurt, and then Luka now with his hamstring issues. Them hamstring injuries, they don't just go away, they linger. You know what I mean? So that kind of scares me being top heavy with a older Giannis and injury prone, high volumes Luka who don't play D. If for me, you have to build. I've seen a report that we probably get like Isaiah Joe, Case and Watt, like them kind of players that kind of get some of OKC's bench. And believe it or not, I think Luka will thrive with them kind of players, the Marcus Smarts, the Carusos.
Mhm.
Luka don't need somebody where he can't play his game. Remember, LeBron was the best thing for Luka. He played off. LeBron sacrificed for Luka to be comfortable.
Mhm.
So Giannis bring the ball up. So is Giannis just gonna run to the block? I've never seen Giannis do that. Nigga, they had Dame running to the damn corner when Giannis is the point guard.
That's true.
So
That's true.
to be honest with you,
Mhm.
to be real, 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 if Luka had Bam, I love that for us.
Oh yeah, Bam, but see, because Bam is a dog, and that's the type of rim running big he would need. So I concur with you, bro. I
Just that
definitely concur with you.
he's younger, he's cheaper, you know what I mean? You could bring another piece in with Bam. I want like a fringe all NBA player. He might not be one, but you know what I mean? I think if you get that with Luka and other pieces, you got a chance. I'm even hearing talks about Kyrie Irving too. So I don't know, pairing them back
That's
up.
true. That
But
would be that would definitely be a good play.
But let me ask you this, man. I gotta give ourselves flowers, man. We were one of the first to talk about this. I think it was our first what if. We said, what if Steph Curry had signed to like Nike or Jordan and not Under Armour? That was one of our best performing videos. It went
Mhm.
crazy. Obviously he went to Nike. He would have been in your face, more commercials. I think it would have been just more global. He would have been. It's wild to say, but like Steph Curry would have been more global,
Mhm.
possibly, but he's always said he wanted to build his own lane. He didn't want to get lost and be just another player, and I respect that. But broke news broke. He signed with Li-Ning, man. Li-Ning is with D Waves with Li-Ning, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson. I think Austin Reeves is with them as well, man. So what do you think about Li-Ning? Salute to Li-Ning, man, and swooping in and getting Steph Curry. I think it's a 10-year deal. It involves golf. It involves lifestyle. It involves everything. So it's like a 360 deal in terms of like what they work on and the branding. What do you think about Li-Ning landing the shark like Steph Curry?
I think Li-Ning signing Steph is a big move. I think it's going to be big for Steph. I really want to see the design of the shoe. I'm happy for Steph as well as their business because the branding behind it is crazy. It's also showing that Nike, Reebok, Adidas, Under Armour is all losing leverage with a lot of these stars. They're leaving and they're going otherwhere, and people are still buying the shoes.
But
They're still buying the shoes, and that's a big deal.
you look at China, Japan, like, come on, bro. Like, how big basketball just I think that's setting him up for like global ambassador kind of moves. And
Mhm.
speaking of money, man, sports financial literacy, man, we follow the money. I just thought about this as we're talking. I think who's gonna surpass a lot of people when it comes to the money? Steph Curry. Steph Curry. I think we look at Braun, we look at Jordan, obviously, we look at Tom Brady, TB12. Those are the guys that are up there. But I think Steph Curry is gonna secretly be like the Nas and kinda make his way up the ladder, and you're gonna look up, be like, Steph Curry with $20 billion? Like it's gonna hit you like, oh shit. He's in the golf game. He got his own little production company. He's doing like the Braun and KD moves, but he more on the low with it.
Now that's a great point. That's a great point, and that's a fact, Prince. I agree with you. When you see what Steph is doing, you gotta pay homage and show love to it because listen, he's doing his thing. He definitely is doing his thing, and I mean from the game shows to the movies,
Yeah,
and
quietly
he
killing it, killing it.
quietly doing his thing. Shout out to him. I just hope that the end of his career is not like the beginning because of course these ankle injuries have been plaguing him,
Right.
but from a business standpoint, you can see that. I mean, he's smart. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, his
and
team.
and definitely got to give him love for that.
Man, like that, just securing a deal like that, man, he got everything and that's the thing, and I think that's good business, right? Where if you're an up and coming company, well, they've been established for a long time in that space. They're not up and coming, but
Mhm.
you're not
Mhm.
you're not the big three, right? When it comes to like apparel. For you
Mhm.
to come in there and Steph Curry probably got everything he wanted, equity. I'm sure he got everything, man. You don't sign that deal without getting everything you want. And, they print money over there, so it's nothing for them. You'd like to get Steph Curry. I mean, even on a lower level, like Stephon Marbury got statues over there, bro. Like people talk
Mm.
about just the love you get in China, Japan, and just Asia as a whole, man.
Mhm.
Salute to Steph Curry, man. Like that's my dog. D Wade is similar too. They just like dudes who get a lot of good business done on the low, man. So salute to them.
100%, 100%. Listen, man, I want to talk on a sadder note. I want to read a little quote real quick here. It says, Rick Adelman, a basketball Hall of Fame inductee who played for 7 NBA seasons before becoming one of the game's all-time winningest coaches. He died. The National Basketball Coach Association announced it Monday. Adelman, the father of Denver Nuggets coach David Adelman, was 79. The cause of death was not immediately announced. Rick Adelman has won over 1,000 games in the NBA, 10th most in league history. Only four other coaches, Pat Riley, Greg Popovich, Jerry Salone, George Karl, coached more games and had a better winning percentage than Adelman, who took the Portland Trail Blazers to the NBA Finals twice. Also was the head coach of Sacramento, Houston, Minnesota, and Golden State. You being a Lakers fan and you watch those series, that's probably some of the greatest series that Kobe Bryant has ever faced as far as matchups with that Sacramento Kings. What or who or even how did Rick Adelman affect the game of the NBA?
He's a all-timer, bro, all-timer. It's funny, when I think of Rick Adelman, man, just growing up, being a Jordan fanatic, and just I remember that finals against the Blazers, and I just always remember seeing Rick Adelman just looking distraught when Jordan hitting them threes. They always zoomed in on Adelman's face, man. Not for nothing, if Michael Jordan doesn't exist, he wins a ring. Clyde Drexler's probably arguably the greatest two guard. You know what I mean? So
True.
that goes to show you how good them Blazers teams were, how well prepared, how well coached they were. Because they didn't have a whole lot of talent. They had dogs, man, Kevin Duckworth, guys like that. So they didn't have like the big names, but they had Clyde leading the ship. Adam's a hell of a coach, man. And man, obviously them Sacramento years is again, if Kobe and Shaq don't exist, if you could arguably say he's supposed to have about 2, 3 rings, man. He just ran into some juggernauts along his way. It's dope to see that his son is obviously coaching and with the Blazers, man. That has to feel good and obviously sad. I feel sorry for him, his family. Obviously Adam, and if you're a fan of basketball, you've been hearing that name your whole life. It's always respect on that name. You don't hear no crazy stories about him. You know what I mean? Like you hear about these other coaches. So salute to Rick Adelman, man. God rest the dead, man. And salute for your contributions for sure.
Let's switch gears and go back to another Bardi report. It says our breaking news: Super Bowl champion Russell Wilson is finalizing a deal to become a CBS Sports analyst. Now, with Russ's personality, what would he mean to just being an anchor man on CBS Sports this NFL season?
I think Russ has an interesting opportunity, man. I think Russ has an interesting opportunity to kind of show people who he is, man. Like, I think you could be corny and cool, right? And this is what I mean by that. And I don't mean corny like how they try to make him because he love his wife. It ain't none of that. It's more of his personality just seems kind of aloof, like almost. You see how Drake is? You see that Drake and Kevin Durant commercial?
Hmm.
Where that's Drake real voice, that's how Drake talk, and it's funny. But I think Drake's a funny entertainer, man. I always say I want to see Drake go back to the movies. Remember he hosted the ESPYs, he killed it.
Hmm.
Drake's an extremely talented dude. I think if Russell Wilson kind of laughs at himself, probably does a podcast with Beast Mode, just go back to the things where people think is corny about you, man. Kind of show people your life with your wife. You know what I mean? He don't owe anybody nothing, but Charles Barkley became way more interesting when he was on air. He was like, oh, you knew he was a funny guy, but you saw him come to life. Kenny Smith, you didn't know he had a personality like that. So I think
Hmm.
Russell Wilson could really come in there. He knows the game too.
True,
So
true. So
I'm curious. I'm curious to see what he's gonna bring and what he's gonna be. Because I think Tom Brady's doing his thing. He found his way, man.
no, he definitely did. He definitely did. But I mean, Tom Brady always had a personality anyway. If you're a quarterback, you have to have a personality to get your teammates to love you. So you have to develop that personality. So it's going to be interesting for CBS because, of course, I think they are the third most watched during the season as far as behind NFL and, of course, Monday Night Football. So we'll see what happens as far as what CBS does going forward. That should be definitely interesting. I hope he does good going into this aspect of his career, and
Yeah.
and, and it should definitely pay well.
Hey, he definitely don't need the money, man. That's for sure. But
Oh yeah.
real quick, let's talk. We posted earlier breaking news, man. The GWOAT, Serena Williams is back in the tennis fold. She'll start with the doubles and work her way hopefully to the Wimbledon. What do you think
Hmm.
about just Serena, man? You know, obviously she lost all that weight. You know, she boosting Ozempic, man. Just keeping it real. She
Hmm.
pushing GLP-1s and she lost a lot of weight. You know, I don't know. Obviously, she's been working out. I think people like that never stop working out, as you talked about Aaron Donald. But
Hmm.
what do you see? It's great for women's tennis. You know, Coco's doing her thing, especially black women and just the sport in general. It's always dope
Hmm.
for a great like that to come back and inject some new energy into the sport, man. But what do you think about her coming back?
I think it's good for the sport because I mean I think the numbers have been down as far as viewership, and so for her to come back, the viewership should go up for the WNBA. So I'm excited to see what she does and what she brings to the table for WNBA faithful. I mean, that's not excuse me, I'm sorry, for tennis faithful, excuse me. And I think it's going to be a great watch. I mean, happy to have her back to see how she matchups versus, the talent that we have going now in tennis is going to be crazy. But I mean, for her to come back and of course what she's doing with the Ozempic, I mean, listen, everybody has a marketing scheme and I think this is a part of her scheme as well, because this can take their stock up as well because she's behind them. So, I mean, everything is about business and finances, man. Everybody's making it. This is a major chess move on the board for her. So I'm loving it for her. Salute to her. I mean, she is probably the female goat, and probably not. She is the female goat of tennis. So it's just to have her come back, I'm looking forward to see what she does and what kind of shape she's in when she gets on the tennis court.
Nah, for sure, man. For sure, man. What else you got, man? What you been watching these days, man?
Well, we got one more take we got to give out. The Stanley Cup starts this week, and we
Yes,
got yeah,
hockey
we got
paid.
Hockey pays VGK versus Carolina. I saw a report where they were talking to Carter Hart, and just basically talking about he had that sexual case that happened, so he's been reinstated and he's going to be a part of VGK in these finals. He is going to make a difference, but it also talked about Eichel. Eichel has a chance to win gold this year and also win the the Stanley Cup. So it's going to be interesting because for Vegas, this is good for them because this brings in more tourism. This brings in more money, and it's going to definitely bring a parade to Vegas for them, especially if they win a championship. But as far as the Carolina Hurricanes go, the Hurricanes have been knocking on the door for like the last 10 years. So if I had to give a take, and I'm not going against. I hate going against Vegas because Vegas been nothing but good to Prince and Bardi. But I think this is year. I think this is Carolina Hurricanes year to finally take it over the top. I got the Hurricane winning the Stanley Cup in 6 games.
But
6 games.
what is it about these 2 teams, they styles that they're always like VGK is always in the mix, like you said, Carolina's always in the mix. Why are they always in the mix? What do they bring to the table?
Carolina is a Knicks mentality, a Detroit Pistons mentality, a Chicago Bulls. They're fierce. They're dogs. They have great defenders. They have great goalies. The scoring is not always there, but you're not going to beat them 4-0, 5-0. They're going to keep the game close. And that's what keeps them always in the playoffs, always knocking on the door because they're one of the most physical hockey teams. Now, the ladders to be said for VGK. VGK, high powered, man. Scoring team, great scoring team, but this team is actually different. They've been a very good defensive team this year. Very good defensive team. I mean, I was shocked at the beginning of the year, if you asked me, I was going to pick VGK, of course, to make the Western Conference and Carolina to make the Eastern Conference versus the Panthers. But if I had to pick, I thought it was going to be Panthers and VGK, a rematch of the first time that the Panthers went to the finals and they lost. But when you look at it, the Florida Panthers didn't make it this year. Injuries took a plague for them, and then also just to play that many games in hockey, to take that abuse and the brutality of the sport, it's crazy. So, I don't think that physically and health wise, the Panthers were able to make it back. But for VGK, they had 1 year where they kind of took a break where they were, I think, a first round exit, and Carolina as well. So it's good to see both of them. It's good for the sport. It's good for the city of North Carolina. It's good for the city of Vegas. And it's going to be a very jam packed Stanley Cup final. We're going to enjoy every game. I wouldn't be surprised you have a couple 1-0s, a couple overtime games where no goals have been scored and the first one to score wins. But like I said, I got Carolina in 6. Definitely Carolina in 6. And I look forward to just seeing what happens game 1 this week.
Sure, man. I'm looking forward to it. You heard it, man. Hockey pays, all things hockey. That's your boy for sure. But yeah, man, great show. To seeing that we should have some pictures dropping soon for sure. This episode 144, man.
Check us out. We out here.
Yes, sir.